First contact and challenge. The Galactic Federation's diplomatic chamber fell silent as Earth's ambassador Chen Wei took her position at the speaking podium. 57 alien species watched with varying degrees of curiosity and concern. Humans were the newest members of the Federation, having been discovered only 3 standard cycles ago, and their behavior continued to confound even the most experienced xenosociologists. Ambassador Chen smiled politely at the assembled delegates before addressing the central issue. The Human Confederation appreciates the Dravex Empire's concerns regarding our recent expansion into the Orion Arm. However, we must respectfully decline your request to halt our colonization efforts on worlds that have been mutually recognized as unclaimed by Federation Charter. The Dravex representative, War Commander Krasik, rose to his full 3-meter height. His iridescent scales rippled with barely contained aggression as gill-like structures along his neck flared open. The Universal Translator struggled to soften the hostile undertones in his response. The Dravex do not make requests, human. We issue warnings. Your species has existed in galactic society for a mere eye blink, yet you expand like a viral contagion. Our empire stood for 10,000 cycles before your ancestors learned to make fire. Chen's smile never faltered. Those who knew humans well noted that her eyes remained remarkably steady. We acknowledge the Dravex Empire's ancient and respected position in galactic politics. Earth wishes only peaceful coexistence and mutual prosperity. She folded her hands calmly on the podium. Perhaps we could establish a joint colonial commission to address concerns about resource distribution. Federation observers exchanged glances. The human response was characteristically polite. Too polite, considering the implied threat. Most species would have either backed down immediately or responded with equal aggression to establish dominance. War Commander Krasik's secondary breathing slits hissed, the Dravex equivalent of contemptuous laughter. The humans send their females to negotiate while their warriors hide. Is this the species that claims to have evolved on a Class 12 death world? Perhaps your classification was exaggerated. Admiral Rohan Jackson, standing quietly behind Ambassador Chen, maintained his professionally neutral expression. As head of Earth's military delegation, he had been instructed to observe only, even as the Dravex deliberately insulted humanity's honor, cultural intelligence, and evolutionary history in a single statement. Jackson's only response was a slight adjustment of his uniform cuffs. The Federation moderator, a Tellurian diplomat whose species prided themselves on neutrality, attempted to redirect the conversation. Perhaps we should review the territorial claims according to Section 87 of the human female avoids the challenge. War Commander Krasik interrupted. This confirms what our intelligence suggests. Your species spreads quickly because you face no natural predators in these sectors. He leaned forward, towering membrane wings partially extending in a display universally recognized as threatening. The Dravex have been the apex predators of this galaxy for countless generations. We evolved to recognize weakness. Chen's expression remained pleasant, but those closest to the human delegation noticed something shift in Admiral Jackson's posture. Nothing dramatic, just a subtle redistribution of weight that somehow commanded attention from every military observer in the chamber. I believe, Chen said without a trace of irritation, that the Federation bylaws encourage peaceful resolution of territorial disputes. Earth remains committed to this principle. War Commander Krasik pointed a clawed appendage at the human delegation. 3 cycles ago, you were trapped on your little blue world. Now you have colonies on 17 planets. Your technological advancement rate exceeds all predictive models. The Dravex recognize a threat when it emerges. For the first time, Ambassador Chen's smile faded slightly. Earth has no hostile intentions toward any Federation member. Our technological growth reflects our adaptability, not aggression. Then prove it, Krasik demanded. Withdraw from the Orion colonies immediately. Those worlds were unclaimed when we arrived, Chen responded, still calm. We've established self-sustaining ecosystems and civilian populations on each one. Withdrawal is not a reasonable request. The chamber's atmospheric processors struggled to compensate as the Drevek's representatives' body temperature spiked, a physiological precursor to violence in their species. Then the Drevek's empire formally challenges Earth's right to exist in those sectors. War Commander Krazik's voice resonated through the chamber. By ancient Federation law, we invoke the right of superior claim. One battle fleet against another. The victor claims the disputed territories. Gasps and murmurs spread throughout the chamber. The right of superior claim hadn't been invoked in over 700 cycles. It was a relic from the Federation's early days, a provision allowing limited military conflict to settle disputes without full-scale war. All eyes turned to the human representatives. Most expected immediate capitulation. Earth's military was widely regarded as primitive compared to ancient powers like the Dreveks. Their ships were functional but unrefined, their weapons effective but unsophisticated. Admiral Jackson leaned forward and whispered something in Ambassador Chen's ear. She listened, then nodded once. "The Human Confederation acknowledges your challenge," Chen announced, her voice steady. "As the challenged party, we select the Proxima Centauri neutral zone as the engagement location. Standard Federation battle protocols will apply." War Commander Krazik's expression shifted to what his species would recognize as satisfaction. "The Dreveks accept these terms. In 7 rotations, we will demonstrate to the galaxy why some species should recognize their proper place in the order of things." As the Federation moderator hurriedly began reviewing the ancient protocols for formalized military engagement, Admiral Jackson received an urgent communication on his neural interface. After a moment, he touched Ambassador Chen's shoulder and whispered again. Chen's expression remained diplomatic, but those familiar with human microexpressions might have detected a fleeting hint of resolution crossing her features. "One final matter," she addressed the Drevek's delegation. "Given the formal nature of this challenge, the Human Confederation wishes to clarify that all previous diplomatic courtesies will be suspended during the engagement. Earth will be operating under Directive 17. The statement meant nothing to most of the assembled delegates, but Admiral Jackson straightened his uniform with what almost looked like professional satisfaction. War Commander Krazik dismissed the statement with a gesture. "Hide behind your mysterious protocols if you wish. The outcome is predetermined. The Dreveks have never lost a formal challenge." "Neither have humans," Chen replied simply. "We look forward to an educational exchange." As the human delegation departed the chamber, Federation observers noted how other species subtly moved aside, creating a wider path than protocol required. Despite the humans' reputation for politeness and restraint, something about their quiet confidence after accepting an apparently hopeless challenge left the chamber buzzing with speculation. In the private Federation Security Observation Center, the Tellurian security chief turned to his Arcturian colleague with concern. "What is this Directive 17 the humans mentioned?" The Arcturian data specialist accessed the limited Federation records on Earth's military structure. After several moments, she looked up with an expression her species displayed when deeply puzzled. "I can find only one reference," she replied. In a recorded statement from an Earth military leader during their first contact briefing. When asked about human military doctrine, General Omar Santiago stated, "Earth operates under 17 core directives in interstellar relations. The first 16 involve diplomatic, cultural, and peaceful engagement protocols. Directive 17 simply states, stop being polite." The Tellurian security chief's sensory tendrils coiled in confusion. "That's it. Stop being polite. What does that even mean?" The Arcturian data specialist's photoreceptors dimmed in what translated as concern. "I don't know, but I'm suddenly very interested in reviewing Earth's Death World classification, and I recommend we strengthen the observation shields for the Proxima Centauri neutral zone." 7 days later, the galaxy would understand exactly what happened when humans stopped being polite. The awakening of Earth's defense. The Proxima Centauri neutral zone hummed with activity as Federation observation vessels took positions at the designated safe distance. The formalized challenge between the Dravex Empire and the Human Confederation had drawn unprecedented attention. Betting pools across 17 sectors heavily favored the Dravex, offering laughable odds on human victory. Aboard the ECS Tenacity, Admiral Jackson stood on the command deck with his hands clasped behind his back, watching the tactical display as Earth's primitive battle fleet moved into formation. 12 military vessels, a mix of destroyers, cruisers, and support ships, arranged themselves in standard defensive positioning. To the experienced military observer, the formation appeared textbook but uninspired. Admiral. Commander Sofia Rodriguez reported, "All ships confirmed Directive 17 authentication complete. Awaiting your final authorization." Jackson nodded. Status of civilian observation. Federation monitoring buoys are maintaining position at the safety perimeter. 17 diplomatic observation vessels have registered their presence. All non-combatants are at regulation distance. And our guests. Rodriguez's expression remained professionally neutral. Senior representatives from the Federation Security Council have been escorted to the observation deck as requested. Excellent. Jackson's gaze remained fixed on the tactical display. Initiate Lazarus Protocol. Authorization Jackson 7 Delta Awakening. Throughout the human fleet, something remarkable began to happen. The seemingly basic configurations of the vessels started to change. Hull sections that had appeared decorative or structural revealed themselves as concealed weapon ports. Propulsion systems that had registered as standard fusion drives reconfigured, revealing advanced gravitational manipulation capabilities. In the observation deck, Federation representatives watched in confusion as the human ships seemed to transform before their eyes. "What are we seeing?" asked the Tellurian Security Council representative. Captain Maya Okafor, their human escort, smiled politely. "Earth has maintained certain technological capabilities in reserve. Directive 17 authorizes their deployment." The Federation representatives exchanged glances. The implications were staggering. For 3 cycles, humanity had presented itself as technologically competent but unremarkable, a young species still finding its footing in the galactic community. "You've been concealing your true capabilities," the Arcturian representative stated, multifaceted eyes pulsing with light patterns indicating alarm. "This violates Federation transparency protocols." "With respect," Captain Okafor replied, "Earth has violated nothing. We've merely exercised discretion regarding optional disclosure provisions. Section 42.7 of the Federation Charter specifically permits member species to maintain technological sovereignty over innovations not directly derived from shared Federation knowledge." On the tactical display, the transformation continued. What had appeared to be 12 modest military vessels had reconfigured into something far more formidable. Stealth field generators, previously dormant, activated to create overlapping defensive matrices. Advanced weapon systems, previously disguised as standard mass accelerators, revealed their true nature as directed energy platforms, far beyond what Earth had demonstrated publicly. "The Dravex fleet has entered the engagement zone," Rodriguez reported. 37 vessels confirmed. Heavy cruiser configuration with escort formations. Admiral Jackson nodded. "Status of Athena contingent." Rodriguez checked her neural interface. "Prepped and standing by, sir." Implement Phase 2. Throughout the human fleet, specialized compartments opened to release what appeared to be fighter craft, but unlike any the Federation had observed from Earth before. These vessels moved with impossible agility, their propulsion systems leaving no energy signature detectable by standard Federation scanning technology. In the observation deck, the Medusan representatives' sensory fields rippled with disbelief. Those craft, they're manipulating localized space-time. That technology is theoretically impossible for a species at your development stage. Captain Okafor merely raised an eyebrow. "Is it?" The Dravex fleet approached with confident precision, their formations displaying the arrogance of a predator that had never faced a serious challenge. Their communication channels broadcast on all frequencies, ensuring the entire Federation could witness their expected triumph. "Attention human vessels," War Commander Krasic's voice resonated through the command deck. "The Dravex offer one final opportunity to withdraw with honor. Surrender now, and we will permit your species to maintain your home system and 3 colony worlds of our choosing." Admiral Jackson activated the response channel. "This is Admiral Rowan Jackson of the Human Confederation. We acknowledge your communication." After a perfectly calculated pause, he added, "Request denied." "Then prepare to witness the consequence of your overreach," Krasic responded. "The galaxy will remember this as the day humanity learned its proper place in the cosmic order." Jackson turned to Rodriguez. "Commander, please activate the neural interface integration for our specialized forces. It's time we introduced the Dravex to the Athena contingent." Across the human fleet, previously hidden chambers opened. The Federation observers watched in stunned silence as specialized transport craft deployed toward the battlefield. Unlike conventional military vessels, these craft moved with disturbing precision, as though the pilots possessed inhuman reaction times. The Arcturian representative's analytical mind worked furiously. "Those are not standard human reflexes. What have you done?" Captain O'Keefe's expression remained professional, but carried a hint of pride. "Earth has been classified as a Class 12 death world since our discovery. Did anyone ever wonder how humans manage to not just survive, but thrive in such an environment?" On the tactical display, the specialized human forces moved into engagement range with the Dravex fleet. Instead of conventional attack patterns, they executed maneuvers that seemed to defy the laws of physics, moving through gaps in the Dravex formation that shouldn't have existed. "Humanity evolved under constant threat," Okafor continued. "Our bodies adapted to survive crushing gravity, atmospheric toxins, extreme temperature variations, and thousands of predatory species. Our minds evolved to outthink threats we couldn't outfight. Those capabilities didn't disappear when we developed technology. They were enhanced by it." The Dravex fleet fired its first volley, impressive displays of destructive capability that should have annihilated the seemingly vulnerable human forces. Instead, the specialized craft simply weren't where the attacks landed, moving with precision that bordered on precognitive. "The Athena contingent," Okafor explained as the Federation representatives watched in stunned silence, "represents our integration of biological capability with technological enhancement. These aren't mere pilots, they're symbionts. Human consciousness merged with advanced AI systems, creating operational capabilities beyond what either could achieve alone." On the main tactical display, the Dravex fleet's perfect formation began to fracture as the unexpected human response created confusion in their ranks. What should have been a simple demonstration of overwhelming force had transformed into something the Dravex military had never experienced: uncertainty. In the command center, Admiral Jackson observed the engagement with calm detachment. "Commence Phase 3, he ordered. "Authorize Perseus deployment." Rodriguez confirmed the order, and throughout the human fleet, a final revelation unfolded. Specialized weapon platforms, previously disguised as support modules, activated targeting systems that operated on principles unknown to the wider Federation. "What we're witnessing," one Tellurian scientist whispered to another, "contradicts everything we thought we knew about human technological development. They've mastered gravitic manipulation, consciousness transfer, and quantum targeting systems, technologies that took other species thousands of years to perfect." The Dravex fleet, realizing the true nature of their opponent, attempted to regroup into a defensive formation. Their communication channels filled with increasingly urgent tactical updates as War Commander Krasic struggled to comprehend how his perfect battle plan was unraveling. "This is impossible," his transmission echoed across Federation observation channels. "No species conceals this level of capability. No honorable civilization would hide behind false pretenses of technological inferiority." Admiral Jackson's response was measured. "The Human Confederation never claimed technological inferiority, War Commander. We simply chose not to correct your assumptions. As we informed you at the challenge acceptance, diplomatic courtesies have been suspended. We are no longer being polite. As the human forces executed their precisely coordinated attack, the Federation representatives on the observation deck turned to Captain Okafor with expressions ranging from awe to horror. "Why?" the Arcturian representative asked. "Why maintain this deception?" Okafor's expression softened slightly. Humanity's history taught us painful lessons about revealing strengths prematurely. When we discovered we weren't alone in the universe, we made a decision. We would enter galactic society not as conquerors, but as students. We would learn, observe, and integrate, all while maintaining sufficient protective capability should it become necessary. On the tactical display, the Dravex fleet's cohesion had completely collapsed. What had begun as a formalized challenge was transforming into something the galaxy hadn't witnessed in generations. The complete tactical dismantling of a superior force by an allegedly inferior one. The Dravex made a fundamental error, Okafor continued. They mistook our politeness for weakness, our restraint for limitation, our patience for fear. She gestured toward the tactical display. This is what happens when humans stop being polite. As the battle entered its decisive phase, Admiral Jackson's expression remained calm. Everything was proceeding according to plan, a plan centuries in the making, designed to ensure humanity's survival in a dangerous universe where appearances could be just as important as capabilities. And across Federation space, those watching realized they were witnessing not just a military engagement, but a fundamental shift in the galactic order. When restraint falls away, War Commander Krazik's command vessel shuddered as another precision strike from the human fleet bypassed shields that had protected Dravex warships for millennia. Alarms blared across the command deck as systems failed in cascading sequence. "Impossible," Krazik hissed through respiratory membranes, now flaring with stress chemicals. "Their targeting algorithms are bypassing defensive phases that should be undetectable." His tactical officer, scales dulled with combat fatigue, reported grimly, "Sir, we've lost 30% of the fleet. The humans are systematically disabling our ships rather than destroying them." "They mock us with mercy," Krazik snarled. "Prepare the Sundering Protocol. If we cannot win this challenge, we will ensure the humans gain nothing but ashes." The Sundering Protocol, a last resort weapon system that created localized space-time ruptures, was forbidden under Federation law. Its activation would violate the formal challenge parameters and constitute a war crime. Yet Krazik, facing the first defeat in his distinguished career, had abandoned the honor that had defined Dravek's military doctrine for generations. Aboard the ECS Tenacity, Admiral Jackson received the intelligence report from the Athena contingent. "Sir," Commander Rodriguez said, her neural interface pulsing with incoming data, "we're detecting energy signatures consistent with prohibited weaponry on the Dravex command vessel." Jackson nodded, unsurprised. They've reached the predictable conclusion. Implement Herm's protocol. Authorization. Jackson final truth. Throughout the human fleet, a previously dormant system activated. Invisible fields of precisely modulated quantum particles expanded outward, intersecting with the Dravex vessels. Where the fields passed, energy systems faltered and weapons went offline, not through destructive force, but through a fundamental manipulation of the underlying physical principles governing their operation. On the Federation observation vessels, scientists and military experts watched in stunned silence as the legendary Dravex fleet simply stopped functioning. "That's not possible," whispered the Arcturian scientist. "They're manipulating fundamental force interactions at distance. That technology should be theoretical at best." In the observation deck of the Tenacity, Captain Okafor addressed the Federation representatives. "When humanity realized we weren't alone in the universe, we faced a critical question. How does a young species survive in a galaxy filled with ancient civilizations?" Our answer was neither aggression nor submission. It was preparation. On the main tactical display, the Dravex command vessel drifted powerless as specialized human crafts approached and established boarding protocols. But this level of technological advancement, the Tellurian representative argued, contradicts everything we've observed about human development. Your historical records show you achieved faster-than-light travel barely a century ago. Okafor smiled. Our historical records show exactly what we decided they should show. Earth has practiced a policy of technological discretion since before we joined the Federation. We've revealed capabilities only when necessary, maintaining significant reserves for contingencies. Your entire cultural presentation has been a deception, accused the Medusan representative. Not deception, Okafor corrected. Strategy. Humanity evolved on a world where appearing harmless to potential predators sometimes offered better survival odds than displaying strength. We applied the same principle to galactic politics. On the command deck, Admiral Jackson received confirmation that War Commander Krasik had been secured. The Dravex leader was being escorted to the diplomatic chamber where, according to formal challenge protocols, the terms of resolution would be established. Interesting, Jackson noted to Rodriguez. He's requesting the presence of Ambassador Chen. Rodriguez checked the incoming transmission details. Yes, sir. He specifically asked for the human female who speaks with false politeness. Inform Ambassador Chen. I believe she's been anticipating this conversation. In the diplomatic chamber, War Commander Krasik, his imposing physical presence somewhat diminished by defeat, faced Ambassador Chen across the formal resolution table. Federation observers maintained position at the regulation distance, recording the proceedings for the historical archive. You deceived the entire galaxy, Krasik accused, his translator struggling to convey the complex emotional harmonics in his native language. The Dravex challenged what we believe to be an emerging species with limited capabilities. Instead, we face technologies that should not exist. Chen's expression remained professional, though the diplomatic smile she had maintained throughout previous encounters was notably absent. The Human Confederation never claimed technological limitations, she replied evenly. We simply allowed others to draw their own conclusions based on what we chose to reveal. Your challenge forced us to demonstrate capabilities we would have preferred to keep in reserve. For what purpose? Krasik demanded. What species conceals such strength? One that understands that true power lies not in what you can destroy, but in what you choose not to. Chen leaned forward slightly. Humanity has experienced enough conflict in our history to recognize that displaying all your capabilities immediately only invites challenge. We preferred to integrate into galactic society through cooperation rather than intimidation. Krasik's guild structures flared in what his species would recognize as reluctant acknowledgement. The terms of your victory. Ambassador Chen activated the formal resolution protocol on the table's display system. The Human Confederation claims rightful possession of all disputed territories in the Orion Arm, as agreed under the terms of formal challenge. Additionally, we require the Dravex Empire to acknowledge humanity's sovereign right to colonial expansion in accordance with Federation unclaimed world protocols. Krasik studied the terms with narrowed eyes. These demands are surprisingly limited. You could claim reparations, even territorial concessions from existing Dravex holdings. We have no interest in Dravex territory, Chen replied. Only in securing what we have rightfully claimed and preventing future challenges. After a moment of consideration, Krasik pressed his identification plate to the resolution document. The Dravex acknowledged defeat in the formal challenge and accept these terms. Before removing his hand, he added, "But I would know one thing, human. What is this Directive 17 that transformed your forces so completely?" For the first time since the challenge began, Ambassador Chen allowed herself a genuine smile. It's quite simple, War Commander. Humans prefer peaceful coexistence. We entered galactic society with genuine respect for its ancient civilizations and sincere desire for mutual prosperity. But we evolved on a world that taught us harsh lessons about survival. She stood, indicating the conclusion of formal proceedings. Directive 17 acknowledges a fundamental truth. Politeness is a choice we make, not a limitation we suffer. When that choice no longer serves its purpose, we simply stop making it. As the Federation observation team recorded the historical resolution, discussions had already begun throughout galactic society. The implications of humanity's hidden capabilities sparked debates in scientific institutions, military academies, and diplomatic corps across 17 sectors. On the observation deck of the Tenacity, Captain Okafor addressed the lingering questions of the Federation representatives. "Your species will be reclassified immediately," the Arcturian representative stated. "This demonstration suggests humans should be categorized as a Tier 1 civilization, with restricted technology access." Okafor shook her head slightly. "That would be premature. What you witnessed today represents only capabilities we were forced to reveal. The Human Confederation would prefer to return to our previous diplomatic approach." "Return to concealment, you mean?" the Medusan representative countered. "Return to politeness," Okafor corrected. "Humanity genuinely desires peaceful integration with galactic society. We value cultural exchange, scientific collaboration, and mutual prosperity. But we also value survival." She gestured toward the viewing portal, where the disabled Dravex fleet was being systematically towed to designated Federation recovery zones, without a single vessel destroyed. "Today you witnessed what happens when humans stop being polite. It should demonstrate why we prefer to maintain that politeness whenever possible." As the Federation representatives departed to draft their reports, Admiral Jackson joined Captain Okafor on the observation deck. "Ambassador Chen has formalized the resolution," he reported. "The Dravex have acknowledged defeat with surprising grace. They're an ancient species," Okafor noted. "They understand the value of adapting to new realities." Jackson gazed out at the stars. The same stars humanity had studied for millennia. First with wonder, then with calculation, and finally with the determination to claim their place among them. "Do you think they'll understand the message?" he asked quietly. Okafor considered the question. "Some will. The wisest among them will recognize that today wasn't about victory or defeat. It was about truth." "And what truth is that, Captain?" She smiled slightly. "That in a dangerous universe, the most dangerous species might be the one that chooses to be kind until kindness is no longer an option." As the Tenacity prepared to return to Earth, news of the battle's outcome spread across Federation space. Diplomatic channels hummed with speculation about humanity's true nature and capabilities. Military